Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start tonight's meeting. We have the call to order. We're going to have an invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and the roll call. The Pledge of Allegiance will be by Commissioner Forster, the invocation by Commissioner Keller. Let's stand, please.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we ask your blessing on the decisions that we're going to make. Give us the counsel to make the right decisions for our growing city. We ask for blessing on all of our citizens, Lord. This time we especially ask, this week is memorial service, the memorial service for the fallen police officers in our county, Lord. We ask a special blessing on their families as they gather for that service this year, as always. We can't do it without those citizens who are willing to put their lives on the line for the rest of us. As always, a blessing on our police and fire department, our first responders who are there when we need them. And Lord, we ask a blessing on all of our military. Wherever they are in the world, keep them safe and bring them home to us. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me, before everybody sits down, I'd like to do one special thing, and I'll bring it up. We had an officer, a lieutenant, who just passed away. That's one of our fire department for about 25 years, 26 years. He lived in Ocoee. His mother was raised in Ocoee. He's been around Ocoee all his life. He passed away in his 50s, early 50s with cancer. He hadn't been retired for less than a year. So I'd like to have a moment of silence for him, then we'll continue with the meeting. All right, thank you. And his name was Kevin Greenhill. All right, roll call.
Commissioner Grogan?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Forster?
Here.
Commissioner Keller?
Here.
All right, presentations and proclamations. We have a Teacher Appreciation Week will be read by Commissioner Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the city of Ocoee deeply appreciates the values, the work, and commitment of our instructional staff of Orange County, Florida, and worldwide, and whereas the vision of Orange County Public Schools is to be the top producer of successful students in the nation, this is dependent upon classroom achievement, and whereas teachers are the single most important factor in the classroom to help their students achieve to the best of their ability, and whereas teaching is a profession that requires continual updating of self-knowledge, the ability and the desire to impart that knowledge, creativity, patience, and persistence, and whereas besides parents, teachers are the single most influential individuals in the lives of our students and their future successes, and whereas the success of students in public education is the basis of a free and strong society, now therefore the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim the week of May 2nd to 6th, 2016 in the City of Ocoee as Teacher Appreciation Week. Further, Ocoee urges all citizens to thank all teachers and school administrators for the hard work and dedication they put forth to educate the children of our great city.
Is any of the teachers or anybody here to accept this proclamation? If not, we'll do that later. We all let you. How about that, Dennis? Come on up and we'll let you take it. And which school are you with? Are you at Thornwood? Where are you? That's good enough. Somebody get a picture. Wait a minute, Joel. We got to get somebody to get a picture here. Where's Zach? Here comes ours, too. Thanks, sir. All right, thank you. See, the school gets a surprise and didn't even know it. All right, we have one, Commissioner Grogan.
Yes, Building Safety Month. Whereas our city continues efforts to address the essentials the essential issues of safety, energy efficiency, and resilience in the construction environment that affects our citizens, both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. Give us confidence that our structures are safe and sound, and whereas our confidence is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradesmen, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas the Florida building codes, based on the international building codes, include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month encourages all citizens to raise their awareness of the importance of building safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, water safety and conservation, energy efficiency, and new technologies in the construction industry. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider projects to improve building safety, sustainability at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential services provided to all of us by our code officers in protecting our lives and property. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim the month of May 2016 to be Building Safety Month. We encourage our citizens to consider projects to improve building safety during this Building Safety Month. Steve? I guess? Anybody?
We got Dean here. All right, thank you. That's Dean Richards, our building official for the city. All right, the next presentation is going to be about water safety, and I'm going to call up the names of the people for the accepting it after he reads the resolution. Okay. Proclamation, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a proclamation for Water Safety Month. Whereas the citizens of the city of Ocoee recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities play in our physical and mental well-being. And whereas water safety education plays an essential role in the prevention of drowning and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas the recreational water industry has made many significant contributions as represented by the organization's involvement in the National Water Safety Month Coalition towards the development of safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, home pools, and related activities. And whereas there are ongoing efforts and commitments within Ocoee to educate the public on water safety issues and initiatives by the pool, spa, water park, recreation, and park industries. And whereas communicating water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages is vital. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee do hereby declare the month of May as National Water Safety Month.
All right, Recreation Leader Jeff Hayes, Steve McDonald, Recreation Manager, Stephen McDonald, Recreation Leader, Pool Manager. Y'all come up to the front when I read your name. Stephen Matthews, Recreation Aide, Lifeguard, Lesson Instructor. Marissa Cummins, Recreation Aide, Lifeguard, Lesson Instructor. And Andrea Robeson, Recreation Aide, Lifeguard, Lesson Instructor. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We got the big one coming up now, with legislative and update by Senator Geraldine Thompson. Welcome.
As you approach, I just want to say that it was a pleasure I have a pleasure of serving on the Tri-County League of Cities, and we're so happy that we were able to present to you last Friday night the Senator of the Year on behalf of the Tri-County League of Cities. So I say congratulations from us. I'm sure the city says the same.
Thank you very much, and it is quite an honor to be recognized as the Senator of the Year by Tri-County League of Cities. And I am delighted to be with you again to provide an update on some of the things that occurred during the legislative session. This year, we convened in January, and we adjourned in mid-March, which is different than our normal schedule when we normally convene in March and end in May. But some of the things that I'd like to point out would affect the town of Ocoee and all of Florida for that matter. But I'd like you to know who my colleagues are and the people I work with in the Florida Senate. And these are individuals who represent all or portions of Orange County. I know you all recognize Senator Andy Gardner, who served as our Senate president and is terming out and moving on to other endeavors. Senator Alan Hayes represents District 11, Senator Darren Soto, 14, Senator Kelly Stargell, 15, and I represent District 12, which includes the town of Ocoee. And so I'm very delighted to be your state senator. The members of the Florida House who also represent portions or all of Orange County include Representative Bruce Antone, Representative Randolph Bracey, and you all know that his office is in your complex here. Representative Bob Cortez, Representative Tom Goodson, Representative Jennifer Sullivan, who has the distinction of being the youngest member of the Florida legislature, Representative Eric Eisenagel, Representative Renee Placencia, Representative Mike Miller, and Representative Victor Torres. So we are your delegation in Tallahassee. One of the priorities in the legislature this year was to develop a system to provide mental health services. We have a kind of a disjointed patchwork of procedures to provide services for mental health, which creates a lot of problems. So Senate Bill 12 addresses the system of delivery for behavioral health services and focuses specifically on children, parents, and others seeking custody of children, and this bill passed through the legislature. House Bill 93, which was Senate Bill 418, which was sponsored by Senator Smith, myself, and Senator Gibson, focuses on the use of body cameras by law enforcement agencies. It does not require police agencies to use body cameras. However, if those agencies choose to use body cameras, the bill requires that they have some regulations and proper training protocols in place. And what we're concerned about is if you lack some rules and regulations, there are instances where officers will not have the cameras on, even though they have them on their bodies. They may leave them in the police station or whatever, and it increases public confidence when you have the body cameras, and it is a good tool for the police agencies because it eliminates some of the speculation about what happens when you have the body camera. So this bill would require that law enforcement agencies have policies for using body cameras. Amendment 1 was passed by the voters here in the state of Florida to protect our waters. And beginning in 2017, going to 2018, and then 2023 to 2024, this bill will require an annual appropriation of at least $2 million for Everglades projects that would involve cleaning up the Everglades and an Everglades restoration plan. And the bill also commits $50 million for the next 20 years to our springs. Our waterways are vital to our way of life, and so we have to do all we can to make sure that our springs are protected. There is $5 million for the St. Johns River Water Management District and for projects dedicated to the restoration of Lake Apopka, which is right here. And that bill passed. We also passed a bill that would require each school district to review its anti-bullying and harassment policy every 3 years. And the bill clarifies that there must be a procedure for receiving reports of alleged acts of bullying and harassment so that parents and teachers know to whom they would report these incidences if they occur, and that bill passed. There are bills that I sponsored as a state senator. One is a memorial that I filed which urges Congress to annually acknowledge January 1 as Haitian Independence Day and May 18th as Haitian Flag Day, and the entire month of May, which we're in now, as Haitian Heritage Month, and that passed through the Senate. I sponsored a bill which passed that will now allow farmers markets and flea markets to be able to accept EBT cards. You know, at one time, low-income individuals got actual coupons or vouchers that they could literally take to farmers markets or grocery stores or wherever and purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. When the process went from a coupon or a voucher to a system that requires a terminal and a lot of technology, many of our farmers markets were not able to accept EBT cards, but this bill would allow a third party to come in and set up that technology. And it's a win-win, a win for the low-income people who now will have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and it's a win for the farmers who will receive additional revenue, and that bill passed. I also introduced a bill to clarify that individuals are allowed to vote by mail. And there has been some confusion as to whether people had to show cause, whether they had to be out of town, out of the country, or whatever to vote by mail. And now there is no requirement that you offer that kind of cause or that kind of reason. You can simply vote by mail, and that bill passed. I want to go to the budget. And one of the things that I was concerned about was the number of uninvestigated deaths that involved law enforcement. And so within the budget, I put in a provision through proviso language that says that of the funds that are appropriated to FDLE, they will use those funds in addition to everything else that they do to conduct independent investigations in instances where law enforcement uses force, which results in the death or grave bodily injury of a person, and that was successful. One of my responsibilities, I feel, is to bring home to Senate District 12 as much of your tax dollars as possible. We know that in Central Florida, we contribute a lot to the tax base of the state of Florida through the tourists who come here, through property taxes, et cetera. And so it is one of my jobs as your senator to bring home as much of the bacon as I can to Central Florida. And I was able to get a total of $35,972,744 in the state budget for projects here in Central Florida. One is Sankofa. I feel that we are missing out on a niche market in terms of tourism, and so Sankofa would fund a Black cultural tourism program. And we saw in this past year in Selma, Alabama, people came from all over the nation for the reenactment of the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And while that may seem a feel-good kind of thing, these people stayed in hotels, they rented cars, they shopped in the malls, they ate in restaurants. the hotel rooms filled up in Selma and Birmingham and Montgomery, all of Alabama, and even into Tennessee. So this would allow Florida, which has a rich cultural history, to capitalize on some of those tourist dollars. I was able to get in the budget $500,000 for the Orange Blossom Revitalization Project, $555,000 for the Orlando Science Center, and $1 million for links. They are having to mitigate the ultimate I-4 construction that is going on, that is really impairing people being able to get to the terminal downtown. $850,000 for the Florida Children's Initiative. The YMCA Central Florida After School Program got $1 million. Valencia College, $3,150,000. And this is a big one, UCF Downtown Campus, which is going to be located where the former arena was, got $20 million. UCF Evans Community School, $1.5 million. UCF Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, $1,147,744. UCF Urban Teacher Institute, $250,000, and Lighthouse Works. I was very impressed with this project, which serves people who are visually impaired or completely blind. And they give them skills so that they can operate a call center, they can package products, so it makes them independent rather than being institutionalized. And then the Oakland Water Project got $1 million, and I think I reported that I've been working on this because that entire town is on septic tank, and the state of Florida has invested considerably to bring an exchange from the turnpike into Oakland, but they could not attract a restaurant or major hotel because the entire town was on septic. And so I was able to get in the budget $1 million to begin to move them to a sanitary sewer system. The Apopka Potable Water Project got $250,000. Orange County Lake Lawn got $250,000. And the Lake Apopka Restoration, which I mentioned earlier, got $2 million. You all asked me to get funding for a multi-jurisdictional training facility for your law enforcement, and I was successful in getting it in, but it didn't stay in. And so I want you to know that I was working on your behalf, and we have to work on some other people as well to make sure that we get that money not only in the budget, but that it stays in the budget. And so at this point, if you have any questions for me, I would be glad to respond to them.
Mayor, if I may, Senator Thompson, I just wanted to say thank you. Especially, there was actually two things. Senator Thompson mentioned the police facility we were looking for, but also what she and Representative Bracy also had in the budget was $500,000 for an Oakland trail. We've been talking about the trail between us and Winter Garden to the downtown to connect the downtowns. Both of them got that through their houses, and that was in the final budget. Unfortunately, the governor vetoed it, but that also you did a lot of work on, and I really do appreciate all of the work you have done for us and getting things through and into the budget.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he's gonna ask, just hang on a minute, he's gonna ask.
He knows what he's doing.
I would imagine you have to be recognized by the mayor, not by me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir.
Well, he's part of the building. so
Okay.
don't worry.
Oregon, I think recently passed a law about voting only by mail.
Yes, that is correct.
But the cost, it's a good idea, I mean, has that part been discussed?
We have not discussed having people vote exclusively by mail. That may be coming because we know that Florida has one of the highest percentages of elderly people. And the elderly many times have mobility problems and they have difficulty getting to the polls. So we wanted, just for now, to begin to have people who chose to vote by mail, but we have not gotten to the point of where everybody will vote by mail, but Oregon recently did that, and that increases participation in the democratic process when people don't have to find transportation and, you know, try to figure out how to get to the poll.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Menacke. Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Anybody else have any questions?
Just make a comment. Thank you for, should I say, voting against the election, changing the focus of the election schedule. That, I hope we don't see that again, but it probably will come up in next term.
Well, you know that I'm for home rule.
And
I believe that city governments, county governments should be able to do what's best for their population, and for the state to dictate when you would hold your election, I think goes against the whole concept of home rule. And so I did vote against that.
I was going to thank you for supporting home rule. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'll ask you a question about some of the funding, just like for the UCF downtown, $20
Yes,
million.
sir.
What's the process? I mean, we put in every year for just like the police and fire, or we put in for the bike trail deal. We never seem to get any money. I see the same ones being put in on these funding every year after year, just like UCF at downtown, or UCF at Evans, or UCF at the other place. I mean, where's the particulars, who's the ones that aim at the certain ones? And Orange County's got plenty of tax-based money. They have plenty of tourist money. So does the city of Orlando. Us outlying cities, we don't have that. We don't get that.
Well, a lot of it has to do with having a champion, and I have been your champion since I have been in the state senate. This is my 4th year. But you also need to get engaged politically with the governor's office, because I can work hard, and your representative can work hard, the delegation can work hard, and we get the money in the budget. But if the governor vetoes it, and he does have that prerogative, and he has line item, and he just goes through the entire budget, and some things he just takes out. So you have to have some people who have relationships with the governor, and to communicate with the governor's office that when the legislature crafts this budget, we draft it, we send it to him, that these are projects that are important to the city of Ocoee, or whatever the municipality is, and ask him not to veto it.
Well, I'm just debating it here. I appreciate your service, but it seems to me like we get overlooked every year. We've got the same kind of problems everybody else have, but the money's getting delved out to people who's already got money. I seem to have that kind of galls me, that we can't get the money to give to the cities, even if it's just Apopka gets a little. We don't seem to get it. Oakland we got mostly septic tanks in the city of Ocoee too, but we don't seem to get the money. I'm just passing the message along. I know you try, but how many champions we got to have? I mean, you know, I need to know, because we do go up there. We got lobbyists that work up there. Our Commissioner Keller goes up there. So I mean, somebody's got to push a little harder for us. You know, that's my own opinion.
Right.
I just think this town is a vital part of the West Orange County, but I think we need to get our fair share of the things that we need to get back from the state.
One of the things that I do, even before the session begins, is I ask the municipalities within the Senate district to tell me what their budget requests are. And we have a form that we ask everyone to complete, indicating what the need is, what the projected return on investment is. When I get that back, then I begin to craft what I'm going to ask for. And Commissioner Keller asked to meet with me specifically. We talked about the training facility, and I began working on making sure that got in, making sure that the trail got in. But I am not one of the favorites of the governor, but yeah. And so you, if you can identify someone who is a favorite of the governor, and I send people who are his favorites to lobby for my projects. But I understand your frustration.
I'm just saying, you know, we appreciate it.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Senator. Comments from citizens and the public. I have a form here.
We got a presentation first?
Another presentation? Oh, I got the big guy coming down here. Sorry. Presentation of Downtown Redevelopment Project Update. Assistant City Manager Shadrick.
Mayor, members of the commission, thank you. Craig Shadricks, Assistant City Manager. I'll try to be very brief. I want to thank you all for attending our workshops last week with our downtown. The master plan is moving along very nicely. There's three pieces I want to remind you to our downtown master plan process. We have early actions, fast track design to leverage current downtown infrastructure projects, the master plan and design standards itself, which we were working on diligently last week with the design team, and then an implementation plan that will identify the project list and the project detail necessary to secure this big chunk of funding that it's going to take to build everything that we need built. Tonight, I'm only going to focus on updating you on the early actions, okay? We will probably be scheduling within the next month a work session that would begin at 6 o'clock to go through everything. But I want to stress one thing. This downtown project has so many moving parts that we're just going to be focusing on one tonight because we got a heavy dose of the master planning last week. So including the early actions, you have projects such as Main Street from Blueford to McGuire. You have Blueford Avenue, which includes utility work, stormwater, and streetscape. And we also have a third project thrown in that I'll briefly go over called the Lakeshore Drive Trail. Beginning with Main Street's extension, you all recall that it was an integral part of the CRA master plan, and we have awarded the preliminary survey work to do this, which includes establishing the right-of-way and legal descriptions. And the design component you'll be awarding tonight, hopefully. We'd like to thank you in advance for that. This will use an integrated review process, which will save time, and we will be ready to bid this in December of this year. So we're very excited about that. That's a key connection. It comes up constantly in transportation circles. The other piece, Blueford Avenue, phase one, it's two phases, Columbus to Delaware and then Delaware to Silver Star. Phase one, as we're all painfully aware, is under construction, and the force main and water main have been completed, and the roadway completion should be this July. I'm going to cough a little bit, but hopefully it'll be done in July. But folks, this is progress. You know, it's inconvenient, but get ready to have a lot of this happening. Now, Blueford Avenue Phase 2, I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk to you about that. That's the segment from Delaware to Silver Star, and there's a tremendous amount of things going on with that. One is the master planning process that GAI is involved in. They are doing a streetscape design, and this is the segment from Delaware to Ohio. As you can see, the right-of-way decreases as you move north from Delaware. And this is from Ohio to Floral, Floral to McKee, and then McKee to Oakland. And I want you to know, I'm going through this quickly for the sake of time tonight, but this streetscape project is going to have incredible detail when it comes to the textures that are used for the sidewalks and the intersection detail. They've chosen a species of oak tree that grows tall and doesn't spread too much. It's going to be a beautiful project. And we also have some unique treatments for stormwater that should give us some additional credits. There's some stormwater planners that are going to be in there. And as you all who attended our workshops last week on the master plan process know, the creek is going to become a more prominent feature in stormwater design for our downtown. So moving further north from the City Hall area up towards Silver Star, you can see that the right-of-way narrows tremendously. And we're building this strictly in our right-of-way, and we've accommodated for that in the landscaping design as you approach that Silver Star area. One thing that's food for thought is this particular intersection, and we'll be coming back to you at a later time to talk about that, but there are some opportunities, and I know roundabouts are controversial at this point and subject to commission approval, but this is one opportunity that was discussed last week, and I just wanted to show it for discussion purposes, that it provides a needed gateway. This intersection, regardless of whether it's going to be a roundabout or not, will be a gateway.
So let me refocus you back on this segment, Phase 2 of Blueford Avenue, Delaware to Silver Star. You're going to be hopefully awarding the work to BPA and the subconsultant BFA tonight. It will also be an expedited design. BFA is the force main engineer, and I'm going to hopefully highlight the connectivity between Charles's work with utilities and Steve Krug's work with stormwater and public works, and even Al's work with CDBG money. There's a lot of things that are going on. We're going to incorporate the master plan from GAI along with the work that BFA is doing on the force main, and we're going to do a completely integrated design project. The review process is going to reduce time. The total project, if we go traditional, would be ready to bid in March 2017. We're going to be investigating alternative contracting methods for earlier start dates, so more to be determined on that. So back to the utilities, which was the second thing I mentioned under Blueford. How do they factor in this early implementation schedule? Well, in a big way, and there's a couple things I want to point out. This was the schematic that Charles had for the March 2014 downtown sewer layout. As you can see, that just shows a snapshot, but there's a couple things I want to point out with that. That involves bringing capacities to meet domestic life safety and irrigation needs from a potable and reclaim standpoint, but from a sanitary sewer standpoint, it involves doubling our capacity, and this is planned. For the downtown portion, or that little window I just showed, that's going to add an additional 229 ERUs. Both portions of the project impart many areas the ability to reasonably connect to central sewer, something we haven't had in a long time. Another summary there, just to put it in perspective, the total length of mains that is involved in this is 4.2 miles. That's significant. So to get us to this little segment of Blueford Avenue, there's several projects that needed to happen, and several are either completed or underway. I want to highlight those for a minute. We've completed the worst road from the wastewater plant to Family Dollar for the force main. We've completed South McGuire to North McGuire, under State Road 50, accomplished that with the widening project. Blueford Phase 1, Columbus to Delaware, which I just showed you. Those projects are necessary in the big picture. So I want to commend you because you've been working on making downtown possible already. Completed design work, the Columbus Street force main from Blueford to McGuire. The design's completed. We're seeking a proposal right now, and the cost is approximately $90,000. Projects that are currently in design phase, the force main from Family Dollar to north of Silver Star, including the master lift station, be ready to bid July, just later this summer. Blueford Phase 2, I want to talk about that because I just took you on a long, circuitous route as part of Blueford Phase 2, which is that Delaware to Silver Star area that's so vital to our downtown redevelopment. The design work for the utilities there will be complete in June, and we plan to bid this with the Blueford Streetscape project that I showed you the snapshots of. And the estimated cost of the utilities work is going to be $2.625 million. Combining this work is going to save us approximately $300,000. For road restoration, it's also going to minimize disruption. So we're moving fast, and we're trying to move efficiently as well. I want to point that out. And then a couple other things from Silver Star to Pioneer Key 1, water main loop, and gravity sewer extensions at a cost of $95,000 apiece. The last thing I wanted to show you was the Lakeshore Sidewalk extension very quickly. This is a project that's part of downtown, and it's vital. And I forgot to mention that earlier today when I was briefing the city manager on it. But we've shown several methods of getting the trail to Oakland and to our downtown. And I'm not going to labor that one because there's a lot of things that we'll be deciding in the master plan process. But I do want to point your attention to this. This segment is vacant right now from a sidewalk trail connection standpoint. Okay, and this is the future trail connecting to our downtown. So we're going to do a project to complete that. And Al Butler has been working with Orange County CDBG to secure grant funding to make this happen. And the west end of the project will start down there on the lake at the Cove, and it'll proceed down Lakeshore Drive, and you can see the design work that we've already done there. And the east end of the project will be where the sidewalk stops out on Silver Star Road. And there's even a path along the guardrail that we'll have to deal with and the encroachment. But this project will serve low and moderate income populations. The concept design has been completed by the city. DOT has agreed to work with us on construction engineering. It's going to cost $100,000 for detailed design work and $735,000 for construction. But the good news is you all, in your pledge to build a downtown and set aside money that can be used to borrow a significant pot of money, up to $16 million per our most recently adopted budget, we have a card to play in terms of match. So we plan to get this funded through CDBG. We've already responded to a request for additional information, and this will complete the Lake County to Orlando pedestrian path. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the project update for the early implementation activities associated with downtown. We plan to come back and schedule a 6 p.m. workshop at a date to be determined to go through everything, because it's really more of a workshop material. And with that, I have the rest of the team here, and if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them. Thank you.
You want to introduce the rest of the team?
Yes, sir. Please stand up. Charles Smith, Utilities Director. Al Butler, Director of Support Services. Stephen Krug, Director of Public Works. And not with us this evening due to a virus is Michael Rumor, City Planner. And then all the people that are members of those departments are part of this team. So I couldn't be prouder to be part of such a great work group.
Anybody on the staff have any questions? Dice?
I have a question. Just for the public to know, would you like to tell them what we love acronyms for, but CDBG?
CDBG would be Community Development Block Grant.
Through the county.
It's a program administered through the county that uses federal dollars to improve communities of low and moderate incomes.
Just like our residents to know what that means.
Thank you.
And probably most important, Blueford, what's the traffic gonna be like for the next, say, the duration through the summer? We're gonna have is it gonna be open for a little bit, then close down again? So the citizens are gonna, so they
Yes.
get a little, what's gonna happen?
I'm sorry. Our citizens can expect to be communicated with very regularly on quite a few changes that will be coming their way, and they can expect efficient detours and several slowdowns and lots of construction starting this summer. So I think it's actually a good thing. It's going to be inconvenient for all of us, and we have a lot of events that may be affected by some of it, and we'll do our best to work with everyone in the community and with the commission to try and make that as painless as possible. But progress is sometimes painful, and we are fully committed to creating a new downtown redevelopment environment here, and we have a lot of momentum. So that's something that everyone can expect is more road construction.
Anybody else? Okay.
I was going to say, Mr. Menacke's got a question.
Mr. Menacke, come to the podium. Mr. Menacke. What, Craig?
The pedestrian path, yes. Well, the pedestrian path around Lakeshore Drive, that's a segment, like I was saying, that is missing a sidewalk to connect from where it ends down here on the lakefront up to the sidewalk on Silver Star. And that actually serves as an important regional pedestrian connection. So we feel pretty strong about our application to receive the funding, and this means you'll be able to eventually, when the new trail gets constructed downtown, you'll be able to hop on a bicycle and ride from Winter Garden to Ocoee downtown. And if you want to head out Silver Star, you can do that also. So it's going to be great. You're welcome.
No more questions? Thanks, Craig. Great.
Thank you.
All right, one more presentation on, now we're going, I'm sorry, we're going to move to comments from citizens and public. We have a new one tonight from Cale Johnson. Come up and introduce yourself and give us your address and tell us about it.
Hi, my name is Cale Johnson. I'm representing the Thornbrook Elementary School here in Ocoee, and we have a request. Well, first of all, let me explain why I'm here. There's a really smart and awesome group of kids that have been working for about 4 or 5 months within a program called Odyssey of the Mind. And what Odyssey of the Mind is, real quick, I'm going to read something to you so that you get an idea of what it is specifically. It's an international educational program that provides creative problem-solving opportunities for students from kindergarten through college. Team members apply their creativity to solve problems that range from building mechanical devices to presenting their own interpretation of literary classics. They then bring their solutions to competition on the local, state, and world level. Thousands of teams from throughout the U.S. and from about 25 other countries participate in this program. Now, the group from Thornbrook Elementary School joined the program. Their first year was last year, and they got acclimated to what Odyssey of the Mind actually is. And this year, their coach, Ms. Kentner, formed some additional teams to compete. They went to the regional competition. This particular team went to the regional competition. They came in second place, which gave them the opportunity to go to the state competition, which is out at UCF. That was the first weekend of April. They went to state competition, competed with, I believe, 19 other teams from across the state, and this group here came in second place out of 19. And what that does is that gives them the opportunity to go to the world competition, which is in Ames, Iowa. Iowa State University is hosting the Odyssey of the Mind program this year. And basically what that means for a group of 18 total people, there's seven kids that are on the team from Thornbrook. So what that requires is travel to and from Ames, which is not an easy place to get to. And it also requires room and board. The University of, or rather Iowa State University is hosting, so they're allowing the participants to stay on campus. So in an effort to raise money, we've been doing lots of different things, and one of the things that we'd like to do is approach the commission for some possible help funding this trip. So there's, again, lots of costs. There's travel and board, and if you stay on campus, then they feed you as well, so that's kind of nice. The cost for one individual to stay on the campus is $575. That just includes room and board. That's not travel. So what I'd like to do is approach the commission and ask for any type of funding that they might be able to provide to help the students and their parents and the coach go to Ames for this program. Now, the competition is at the end of May, so it begins on May 25th and goes through Memorial Day weekend. And I have Bryce Ownby here. He is one of the team members, and just to give you guys an idea specifically of what their program is, he's going to give you an idea.
Our problem is No Cycle Recycle Division 1. So the problem is teams will build, ride on, and drive a no-cycle recycling vehicle. It will pick up discarded items, adapt them in some way, and then deliver them to places to be reused. The vehicle must travel without pedaling for propulsion. In addition, the driver will have an assistant worker riding on the vehicle that will help process the trash items being repurposed. They will make an unplanned stop along the way to perform a random act of kindness. So this is specifically about our project. Our car is the DeLorean from Back to the Future, which we have been working on since I want to say October, somewhere in that area. The source of propulsion is an 18-volt drill. Our ecosystems are a Martian colony in the future and the Mir space station from the past.
So that gives you an idea of the kind of things that they've been working on. They have to create an 8-minute presentation, and then, with dialogue and props and all the things that go along with it, to be able to compete, and that's what they've done. So at this time, I'd like to thank you guys for your consideration. Really appreciate the opportunity to come before you all.
Okay, commissioners? Joe?
I guess I have a couple of questions. One is that you said it was $575 per person, and that was just room and board?
That is correct.
And how many people again?
There are 18 total people, including 7 team members, and well, there's the students, and then we have parents as well going.
And I suppose, how are you going about on the besides, I'm assuming you're coming to us and Winter Garden and a few other cities, who has Orange County Public Schools been approached for giving you funds?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, but, okay. And I know only because with it being Ocoee, how many of this team is from Ocoee?
You mean residents of Ocoee?
Yeah, students from the Ocoee school district, from Ocoee school.
Well, as far as Thornbrook Elementary is in Ocoee. As far as residents of Ocoee out of the team members, I'm not really sure. I don't know their addresses or where they live specifically.
You any more?
That's all for now, Mayor.
How much do you have raised so far toward this?
We've used the website, the crowdfunding website, GoFundMe, and we've got to date about $1,000 there. We have, we're continuing efforts to raise money through the PTO at Thornbrook, and also within the community as well, as far as sponsorships and that sort of thing. And doing, sales of, say, donuts and, that sort of thing that we can do with the population in the school.
Yes. Commissioner Wilson?
Sure. I'm known to always say no to things like this. I support education, but I also believe that we have set up a program within the city for grants, and those cycles come twice a year. Unfortunately, just missed the last cycle. So it's not that I don't support programs like this. I just tend to go with the city going through this grant process so that we don't set a precedence for other programs to come outside of that grant cycle requesting donations. So if it does come to a motion and a vote, I just need to let you know that it's not I'm not in favor of education or any of these programs. I just believe we have to adhere to our grant cycle program.
Understood.
Yeah, with the grant money, I'll be willing to make a motion to use some of the grant money for the donation to the project. I don't have a value of it, but.
Excuse me. Bless you. I'd like to make a comment. The grant program is a project that I don't particularly like. I'd rather do it like this sometimes. The grant program seems to give it to the same people, the same process. That's my own opinion. We use our grant program to give the money back to some of the same people that we get it over and over every year. So that's not a big thing for me. I will say that it's good to see kids into something that's not just softball or baseball or football, and I love all that too, because I know these families, I've dealt with them before over the years with their grandchildren, and I coached one of them's son years ago, a long time ago, matter of fact. But I think it's really an enlightening thing to see these young people being involved in something that's pertaining to our environment and what's going on in the thing. And I would say we don't have a lot of money, and I don't know if you've been to Winter Garden yet, you might not get anything. I hate to say that. Have you been to Winter Garden?
No, sir, we have
Probably
not.
won't get anything, but that's okay. But I would tell you, I would say $1,000. I don't know, it might not sound like a lot, but we don't have extra money. We're at the end of the budget year, and we give out those grants that they were talking about.
Well, that sounds
I
like a
still
lot.
think- I will tell you that Thornbrook was in my district, and it's now his district, but I'm mayor. That is one of the best innovative schools for children that I've been to. And they do an excellent job there. All our schools do. They're on super group of kids and parents working there to do things. So I would say $1,000. So if one of y'all, and Rob, can we find that?
You have, you still have money in contingency for the year, about $5,500.
Oh, can we make it $1,500 then? I'd say $1,500.
Commissioner whose district the school is in would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to support Thornbrook Elementary. It's best and brightest students in Ocoee here, a good representation of the city. I recommend that we support them with $1,500.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Firstner, our brand-new commissioner from that district,
Second.
and seconded by Commissioner Keller. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? No more discussion, let's vote. You need to give your information to the city clerk, and she can take care of that for you. And Rob, you did say this May, right?
I'm sorry?
Is it this month, May?
Yes, sir,
So
it's,
you will need to do that
yes,
quick, where
we'll
they
do
can
that.
get it through finance, Rob.
Absolutely.
okay.
you.
Thank you guys very much. And I
Good luck with the competition.
And when you
Yeah.
get through, bring it back and let us see it.
Okay, absolutely.
And for
Okay.
future's sake, make sure you get your names and stuff into
Yeah.
the grant that happens twice a year. Get the
Yes, sir.
information on that also.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And we do have some other team members that are here. I guess I should
Stand
recognize
up.
those too.
Everybody, parents too.
Yeah, there you go. That's the whole group right there.
I think that young man's gonna be a public speaker. He didn't stutter a bit. Thank you.
You did very well.
Thank you.
Best of luck to all of you.
Yeah, best of luck. Let us know. All right. Any more comments from the citizens? If not, we're gonna go to staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a change and an addition to the agenda this evening. On number 4, the approval of the mediated settlement agreement, we do have a revised cover sheet for the agenda item here. There was a typographical error. The correct settlement fee is $208,185.67. It was transcribed incorrectly when the agenda item came along. And that's part of the consent agenda. We also have on number 13, there's an additional application for serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there's also a copy of a resume for Dr. Richmond that was not included in the original packet. And those are the only changes I have.
Did you say 13?
Yes, number
This-
13, the appointment to the
this-
P&Z
Huh?
Commission.
Okay, 13. All right. That it?
That's it.
Okay. Commissioner's announcement. Commissioner Grogan.
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Commissioner First.
For those folks in District 3 that are experiencing problems this month with their water bills, I just want to let all of you know that the departments responsible for them are aware, and they're making all the adjustments that need to be made to correct the situation.
Thank you. Commissioner Keller.
Nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
And I'll wait to the end. All right. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Keller, seconded by Commissioner Grogan. Any more comments? No more comments? Vote. Okey-dokey. Public hearings, none. We'll go to H, first reading for ordinance. Number 12, dissolve an Arden Park Community Redevelopment or Development District. Is that you?
Mayor, this is just the first reading of the ordinance. We'll have the full staff report at second reading. But let me go ahead and read the title of the ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, dissolving the Arden Park Community Development District pursuant to Section 190.46, subsection 9, Florida statutes, providing for the dissolution of all the community development services for Arden Park Community Development District in accordance with the plan of dissolution, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Should I skip work?
Nope, that's- no, you're good.
All right. Yeah, will. The dissolving Arden Park Community Development District will be on this next meeting of May the 17th for the second reading, public hearing. All right, we're going now, there's nothing on I. Go to regular agenda on J. Consideration for 2 appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission, 3-year terms. Has anybody got any appointments beside what's on the board?
Mayor, if I may, is currently District 4 is down one because one of the resignations were from my district. And Marissa Jennings Evans has applied. She was also the first person to apply. She applied back in, I believe it was in March. And so what I would like to do, I don't know if we want to do these together or if we'll do them separate since there's 2 that we have to fill, but I'd like to make a motion to approve Marissa Evans being on the Planning and Zoning Board so we can get up to even number of members for all of the districts.
All right, and the other one is,
I'd like to second that motion.
motion made by Commissioner Keller, seconded by Commissioner
Wilson?
Wilson. Let's vote. The other one I was looking at, it's not my district, but you asked, it's Commissioner Wilson's Richard Griffin, which is, turned in, so I can't make the motion, so.
Well, I've seen a precedence that we have in the past have gone to the next application that was submitted. The first one was 318, the second one was by Robert Henderson. I'm sorry, the second one was by Dr. Richmond.
What district is he in?
Now we're even, he's District 1. And he
Well, that's what
is the
I'm-
second one, 412, followed by 418, I believe, by the next 2, followed by the 5th one that's here on 428.
Well, we don't always go by that, but that's fine if the commission wants to do it. If not, if they want to go with the others, I'd say Richard Griffin. It's, he lives in District 2, and I think, where's the, you got the list of the districts, Commissioner Keller? You got them up there?
Yeah.
Will you read them off?
All right. Currently, Chairman McKee is from District 2. Vice Chairman Marcotti is from District 3. Member Keithler is from District 1. Member De La Portilla is from District 3. Member Dillard is from District 4. Member West is from District 1. Member Sills is from District 2. And now Member Evans is from District 4. So right now, everybody has an equal number of members on the board.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dr. Richmond, as he was a second applicant, and reading his resume, I think he'd be an excellent addition to that board.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do you hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, let's vote. I voted for Mr. Griffin, who's in District 2.
I think he'd be an excellent addition too. I think he'd be an excellent addition too, keeping him on the list. But I'm just looking at the dates that they were submitted, and that's the direction I went.
Okay, all right. Does that fill the
That makes
alternate members?
that
Yeah.
makes 9 members,
It
and
makes
that's
a full
full.
board.
All right, all right. Staff action.
Nothing.
Comments from commissioners. Commissioner Keller.
None at this time.
Commissioner first.
No, I don't have any.
Commissioner Wilson.
Just like to welcome the 2 new members of the board, and happy to see you aboard. Thank you.
Let's see. Commissioner Grogan.
I have nothing at this time.
I like the Lions Club tournament for the golf tournament is the 21st of May. I think it's 8 o'clock, right? Is it, John?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
7 or 8? Craig, do you have an update on the next citizens group for the downtown deal?
We will be having one this month, in the month of May. The workshops that we had last week was the first series of drawing sessions. They'll be coming back and doing another multi-day session here. We're in the process of scheduling that right now, and we have emphasized to them to try and do it at times where we could get more citizens out here, because we realize during the day that it's not convenient for folks who work. So we are in the process of scheduling that. The goal is to have it this month and continue the momentum, because once we do this next multi-day sketching session, refinement session, they're going to be going away and putting the final product together for presentation to the commission, because we're moving very quickly. So that's the update, and if you have any questions, we'll be sending out communications to all of you. And of course, if you haven't signed up for updates on the downtownocoee.org website or any of the various social media sites that are promoting downtown Ocoee, please do so. Thank you.
Thank you. I was trying to think, there was one other thing, but can't think of what it is. So we appreciate everybody being here tonight.